Welcome to Yoga for Balance and Bones, working on our coordination and fluid movements that will, like I said in the email, it's like a little bit of a game of telephone, adding one movement, repeating, and then adding a next movement, etc., etc. So maybe you'll notice the patterns, maybe you won't because you're just being so present in your body. Either way, find yourself in a comfortable seat. I prefer to getting down to the ground, as you know, because the only reason we lose this ability is because we stop sitting here, right? And I know for some of us, sometimes I have a sensitive knee. Sometimes if you take a longer blanket, and you can check to see if this is something that works for you, and just kind of triple it up and then lift your kneecaps. I purposely wore my blue leggings so you could see. Lift your kneecaps and kind of place the blanket between your shin and your feet. It's almost like it's like a, I don't know, like a hammock, if you will, for your legs so that you can release the tension and drop down. And that's really what we want to do. We want to connect with our surface. So find yourself sitting tall in Sukhasana. That's this cross-legged pose. And if for some reason that bothers your knees, extend your legs wide, support the back of your knees, or sit up on a chair. Somebody say something? Does anyone else have trouble hearing me? Yes? Okay, so let me turn the music down. Thank you, Candace. Let me know how that is, team, once the next sound comes up. Thumbs up if you're okay. Yeah? Okay. Good. So in your comfortable seat, however you find yourself, take your hands to either sides of your hips, on the ground, on the bolster, on the pillow, on the chair. Just kind of push down and kind of lift up, like you're trying to lift up out of your waist just ever so slightly. Draw the head of the arm bones back. Good. And then settle back down into your chair, keeping that length on either side of your waist. Good. Palms up, palms down, whatever feels most intuitive to you. And then with your eyes on the horizon, you can gaze downcast with your eyes, keeping your chin parallel to the horizon, or close your eyes. And let's just take a couple of moments here just to get ourselves settled, right? If we've had a busy day, it's quite often that the energy is like literally vibrating inside you. And sometimes you'll see it. If you hold out your hand, you can see that vibration, right? We are made up of energy. So as we start to tune in and perhaps deepen our inhales and our exhales through our nose, maybe we can start to feel ourselves settle. It's like we're dropping down into the bolster. We're literally becoming present and aware of our body and how it's feeling now. And just check in, like shift a little left to right, forward and back, and see if there is any way that you can find a sense of ease in your posture. Right? Oftentimes it feels like you might be leaning to one side. Just play around a little bit with the weight on your sit bones. All the while, keep your spine nice and lifted. Just following that nice long inhale and exhale through the nose. If you'd like to use this as an opportunity to set an intention for your practice, for your 1 hour of movement today, or even an intention for the week, now's your time, now's your opportunity. And then when you're ready, just softly open your eyes. Stay nice and tall in your spine. Spread your arms out left to right, east to west. Good. And reach those arms behind you so that your chest opens up and you might be able to feel your shoulder blades squeeze in towards your spine. Good. Now we want to keep our spine exactly as it is. Just wrap your arms around your body and give yourself a hug. Good. So it might seem intuitive here to change your breathing pattern so that when you open your arms wide, you inhale. Fill up your lungs. And without rounding your spine, you're just hugging yourself. So you're staying in the exact same posture, but you'll feel the shoulder blades broaden through the upper back. Move away from the spinal column. And again, inhale. And exhale. Keep your eyes on the horizon. If we tuck the chin, the spine's going to follow. So we want to try to stay where we are in our spine. A few more times. Inhale. Good. And exhale. You can close your eyes. We're going to do this about 3 more times. Again, nice big inhale. Open up. Expand. And exhale. Soften. 2 more times together, team. Inhale. Nourishing your body with every breath. Exhale, just letting go. And last time here, big breath in. Nice, and exhale. Good, so a nice way to just get a little simple stretch in through the upper back muscles without rounding like a cat and a cow. Release your hands, move your blocks or move whatever it is that you've used to support yourself in a seated position. We're gonna set up for an extended child's pose now. So today I'm choosing to support myself with a blanket. So in an extended child's pose, and options are to take your hands to the wall coming into a hip hinge. I'll show that variation. I want your knees wider than your tummy, wider than your torso. And I'll show the standing variation shortly. Just give me a moment. And from here, try to keep heavy in through your seat, right? We want to anchor one end of our body as much as we comfortably can without having pain. And then keep anchoring yourself back, almost like you're pressing your hands down and away from the front of the mat so you can push more weight into your backside. Yeah. So we're pinning our hips as far back and down as we comfortably can. Now, not all of us are going to have our hips on our heels, right? Some of us might be up here. Either way, you're still pushing your hands down and away from your hips, even if your hips are elevated. And then the other option would be for those who are coming to the wall, you're going to do basically like a wall down dog. Okay? All of them are good. Just take a few breaths here. So by anchoring your hips back and pushing your palms down and forward, we're trying to lengthen the spine here. So the goal is not to get your head to the ground or your forehead to the ground, but rather to keep your ears in line with your upper arm bones. So we create this long line of energy. Maybe here you can keep your hips where they are and walk your fingertips just a smidge farther away from your armpits to feel that sensation of stretching through the side body. So even though lateral flexion is counter or not recommended, rather, if you have osteoporosis, we can still find that side body stretch without actually involving our spine. Take one more breath here. And then slowly walk your hands back underneath your shoulders. Push yourself up onto 4-point kneeling. Hands can also come to the seat of a chair if you prefer a standing variation, team. And I'm going to move forward so that my weights aren't in the way. Good. So from a 4-point kneel, I want those wrists underneath your shoulders. And try to keep the collarbones nice and broad. So imagine your hands are stuck to the mat like glue, but you're trying to rotate your hands out. Now they're not going to move, but what I do want is the movement to come between your wrist and your shoulder so that they open up. So try to screw open without your fingertips actually moving. So it's isometric is what it is. And then, of course, we're pressing into the palms of our hands so we stay broad through the upper back and find that nice neutral posture here. And just take a couple of breaths here. Notice if you're shifting a little to the right or to the left. Remember, your wrist creases can be elevated to reduce the angle at which they're being exposed to pressure here, which means your palms would be elevated like so. And then keep pushing into both hands equally and evenly and start to slide one leg back behind you. I'm starting with my right. So you can start with your right, you can start with your left. Just pay attention to which one you're actually starting with. And then from here, just push the weight of your body back towards your heel so you find a little bit more flexion in through your ankle. And then point your toes a little bit more as your shoulders shift forward like you're peering over the edge of a cliff. As much as you comfortably can, you're going to rock back and forth between these two positions, trying to keep that pushing action equally and evenly between both hands. Remember, hands on chair are a nice option for those who are unable to 4-point kneel. So rocking forward and back. You can come up onto your fists if you wish. And then again, another option would be to come down onto your forearms should that neither of those first few options work. So we're just rocking back and forth. And now starting to integrate the breath, team. So think about what comes naturally to you here, Nancy and Dina. So maybe as you inhale, you look forward. And as you exhale, you push the weight of your body back, or vice versa. All is good, all is welcome. We're just trying to find our rhythm. Good. And then center yourself so your shoulders are directly over your wrist creases, please. Bend that knee, that's extended right now. Yeah? And hold the sole of your foot up towards the ceiling. So like you're walking on the ceiling here. And just hold it there. Keep pushing equally and evenly into both hands. You're not doing anything. You're just hanging out here. Try to keep that knee at hip height or slightly lower. So we don't want it up here where we go into our back. We'll go for 3. Keep pushing. 2 and 1. Now extend that leg out in the middle of the room. Reach those toes back. Point, point, point. And you're going to rainbow with your toes. You're going to touch the outer edge of your mat. Pick that leg up and sweep it over to the opposite end and touch the mat there. Good, and keep going. Control the movement from the leg bone connected to the hip, right, to the pelvis. So that is where the movement is going, nowhere else. Everything else is steady. So we need that stability in our core, in our leg muscles, in our glutes, in our hips. And then moving that leg side to side. Nice and control and slow. 3 and 2 and 1. Lower that leg down. Bring that knee underneath your hip and come up onto your knee. So you're standing on both knees. Good. Take that same leg. So mine was my right. I'm going to step it forward. Good. So right leg out in front of you or left leg as it stands, depending on where you are. Drop that hip down so you don't want to hike that hip out to the side. Good. And then from here, float your arms forward and then bring those elbows down at shoulder height. So we're coming into like a cactus position, and I'll show you from this angle, right? Cactus, 90-degree or French doors as it stands. Good, and take a couple of breaths. Now, can you find the activation in the upper back muscles, much like we did at the beginning of class, right? We want to squeeze those shoulder blades together. Breathe in fully into the front of the body. Really focusing on the postural muscles at this point. And then straighten your arms, lower them behind you, and see if you can interlace your fingers back here. If you can't, just take your hands into your imaginary back pockets. Okay? Roll the shoulders back and down, straighten out the arms, and reach your knuckles down towards the baseboard where the wall and the baseboard meet. Take a couple of breaths here. Drop the tops of the shoulders down away from the ear. So you're retracting or squeezing those scapula together, the shoulder blades together. Feeling that expansion and openness through the chest. That's nice, Deb. Good. One more breath. Release your hands, move that leg out of the way, and let's come back into our extended child's pose. So give your arms, your wrists a little bit of a break. Push those hips back and enjoy your extended child's pose. That's it, Sue. Nice. So Sue said, could you widen your knees if that's available to you so that you have space for your trunk? Yeah, knees as wide as the mat. Yeah, it feels better too. You okay, Dana? Okay. We're in extended child's pose. Okay. Once again, think about anchoring back, pushing your hips up and back or up and down, depending on the availability within your knee joint, and then start to crawl your fingertips farther away from your armpit to try and feel like a sensation of stretching through the side body. Chin in line with chest. We'll take one more breath here. And then slowly come back onto 4-point kneel once again. So the same exact sequence, but now on the other side, right? So start with a really strong foundation. Establish that first instead of trying to rush to extend that leg back behind you. So push your palms down. Feel the broadening of your shoulder blades away from their ears. And then imagine even here that you have something under your armpit and you're trying to squeeze it. Like there's a chestnut in your armpit, in both of them. Now try to squeeze the chestnut with your armpit, hold that, and slide your opposite leg back. So now for me, it's my left leg is reaching back, toes are curled under, and we'll start syncing the movement and the breath as we rock forward and back. So again, think about your wrists and what you need to do to accommodate your body today. Long inhales and exhales. Keep those chestnuts in your armpits. Don't let them fall and drop to the floor. Good. One more time. Peek over the edge of the cliff. Push yourself away from the edge of the cliff. And then find your center. So shoulders over wrists. Armpits are still tight. Lift that leg up for me, Deb and Dina. And then bend your knee. Now again, we want to try and activate a little bit more of the muscles in the lower half of the leg. So if you imagined you're standing on the ceiling, please. So sole of your foot flush with the ceiling, and we're just holding it here, nothing more. Good. Stationary movement, feeling the muscles hug. Making sure that you don't dump into your low back, so draw the belly in and up ever so slightly. Bend that knee a little bit more for me, Deborah. Yes, there we go. There's the hamstring. I saw it go boing. Nice. Perfect. Now extend that knee, which means straighten your leg. And let's paint those rainbows, but with control, right? It's easy to just wiggle your tail. We don't want to wiggle tails today. So tap the floor on either edge of your mat with control and precision. With the leg of a ballet dancer. Sharp. Yeah, slow it down, Dina. So it's the slowness that's going to make it be more challenging for us. Take any breaks off your hands, wrists that you need. And this is how we show our body respect, right? We listen, we understand what it needs and wants, and we accommodate. Good. Now, put that knee back underneath your hip. Come up and stand on your knees and step that leg forward. So again, I have my left leg forward. Square your hips with the front of your mat. In other words, we don't want to open up. And float those arms forward and slightly up as we pull those elbows down and back in line with your shoulders or slightly below. That's it, Anne. Squeeze your shoulder blades back for me a little bit, Anne. Good. And then lift your breastbone like you have a beautiful, gorgeous emerald necklace on. Good. I just have to walk down the street and look at all the emerald necklaces at Cartier and Tiffany's. Take another breath here. Feel that squeezing action in the upper back, right? Our postural muscles, our upper and middle trapezius, and our rhomboids. And then straighten those arms behind you like you're reaching for something. And then interlace your fingers behind your back. Push your knuckles down as you do your best to straighten your arms. And so my Iyengar yoga teacher used to say, imagine the sternum bone here is like a shelf, right? And that you want to be able to lift it up so that you can place something on it. Good. One last breath. Release your hands. Rest yourself in any way that you find helpful. Extended child's pose is probably your best bet here. Or if you would like to just come on up and have a seat on a chair and take a few breaths there, you're welcome to do that. And then when you're ready, take a moment. If you need a sip of water, we're going to come to standing team. So grab whatever you need. I like to have a chair nearby. So lifting all 10 toes from the floor and find those outer edges of your pinky toe and your big toe and the center of your heel. Good. Lower all 10 toes. Shift the weight of your body slightly forward. Ooh. Right? Like we're peering over that cliff and all the weight goes into your toes. We don't want that. Reverse it. So lean back, much like we did on quadruped. Whoa. To the point that almost your toes lift up. You can see how a lot of load goes into the lumbar spine when we push our hips forward. Think about our walking mechanics. So forward and back. And then somewhere in between. So that we feel like we can keep the weight equally dispersed between the front and the back of your feet. And then similarly, shift the weight over to one side. And then come back through your center, arms by your side, relax. Yeah, that's it, Ann. Don't topple over, team. Good. And then again, side to side. Sense and feel what muscles are pulling or tugging based on where your body weight is distributed. Nothing is a coincidence. Come back and see if you can find some sense of center. Okay. Good. Feet stay hip width apart. Take a big breath in. And as you exhale, float those arms wide and up overhead on a high diagonal. Good. And then from here, you're going to pull those elbows back and down as you bend both knees, coming into a variation of powerful pose or Utkatasana. So knees are bent, arms are at cactus position, chest is open, tummy is activated here for 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Straighten your legs as you raise your arms up overhead, lowering your left arm down by your side, reaching up through the right side body. So just lift up through this side. I'm not even looking for an arch over to the side. We know we don't want to get lateral flexion. We want to try to keep the weight distributed evenly, but still lifting up through the armpit, still getting a sensation of stretching through one side. Take that left arm, reach it up, and lower your right arm down by your side. Good, same thing. Can you feel the stretch come? Armpit lifting up. Yeah. Good, come back through center, float both arms up overhead. As you exhale, unlock your knees and push your hips forward, hands to thighs. Straighten both elbows, inhale, head up, look up. And exhale to fold. Push those feet into the ground. Inhale, arms raise and lift up overhead. And exhale down by your side. Nice job. Here we go again. Inhale, reach those arms wide and up. As you exhale, find your cactus arms, bend your knees. We're gonna hold it here for 3 full inhales and exhales. So elbows in line with shoulders, find that 90-degree angle. Arms can be facing slightly down, right? They don't have to be up here. Keeping that tummy engaged. Lifting the breastbone here, it's okay. Good, one more breath. And as you exhale, straighten both legs, reach both arms up. Lower the left arm, reach through the right. Good, we've been here once, this is our second time. Good, keep lifting, feel that stretching sensation through the sides of the waist, from the low back all the way up through the fingertips. Raise the opposite arm, lower the right arm. Good, reach up through the armpit, elevate the armpit up. I'm getting dizzy, Dana. She's running with her laptop in her hand. Good, come back through center, raise both arms up overhead. Here we go, as you exhale, forward fold. Fold at the crease of your hips, hands come to your thighs. Straighten both elbows, look forward. As you exhale, bow. Take one hand to the, or both hands rather, to the top of your left thigh, and step your right foot back. So you're coming into a high lunge position with your right leg back behind you. Good, so lift your chest up. Come on up, Anne. That's it, good. So soften through the back knee so that you don't feel this in your low back. And then inhale, float those arms forward. That's it, challenging your balance here. As you exhale, pull those elbows wide and back. I'll show you from this angle here. Good. Again, if this is bothering your low back, bend your back knee or hinge forward ever so slightly. Whoop. Take both hands to the top of your left thigh, step forward with your right. Good, inhale, come on up. Exhale, bend both knees, hands to the top of your right thigh. Good, step your left thigh back, or left leg back, good. Good. Float those arms forward and up and pull your elbows wide and back. Good. So challenging our balance, an uneven base of support. Try to gaze straight ahead on the horizon, less on the moving teacher. Full breath into the front of your body. Return both hands to the top of your right thigh. Step forward. Release your hands by your side as you straighten your legs. Good. Pause. Close your eyes. Take a moment. Adding on. Find your center. Find your foundation in through the feet. And from there, everything lifts up. Open your eyes. Inhale, reach those arms wide and up. As you exhale, pull those elbows down and slightly back. Good. As you bend your knees, coming into your powerful pose. Again, how far? It's up to you, right? So if that's bothersome, you can just put a slight bend in your knees. If you'd like to go deeper, you can do that as well. Good. One more breath. Stand, reach, left arm down, right arm reaches. Breath or two here. Let that shoulder elevate. Both arms reach overhead as best as you can, and other side, right arm down, left arm reaches. Big breath into that side body. Front, and maybe even a little bit of your back if you can manage it. Good. Both arms reach up overhead. And remember, your overhead is different from my overhead. As you exhale, push those hips back. Inhale, lengthen, straighten your elbows, look forward. Exhale and fold both hands to the top of your left thigh as you step your right leg back. Lift your torso upright as you soften through that back knee. If I try to keep that straight, I'm just gonna feel a lot of torquing in through the low back. It does not feel good. Float those arms forward. Cactus your arms. Open your chest, squeeze your shoulder blades back and down, gently, gently. Find your drishti, find your gaze. Challenging your balance and your attention. On your exhale, take both hands to the front of your right thigh, or left thigh rather, step forward and stand. Good, again, bend both knees, hands to the opposite leg now, your right thigh, step your left leg back, bend that left knee, and float those arms slightly forward and up. That's it, Heather, good. And then pull your elbows slightly back and down. Lift your breastbone up, make that shelf for me. What do you need to do to find that stable foundation? Push down a little bit harder, lift up a little bit higher. Whew. Good, take both hands to the front of your thigh, step your feet together, come into mountain pose. Find yourself in the center of your mat. Bring your fingertips to touch and step your feet nice and wide. Good. Extend through your fingertips, extend through your elbows. Lift the forefoot of the left foot, so the front of the left foot, and pivot. So pivot on your heel, find your warrior two stance. So again, that can be heel to heel, it can be heel to arch, however it makes you feel more spacious in through your hips so you can allow them to rotate with you and then stay in your back leg as you bend your front knee. That's it, good. And now that's it, Heather. Look over your fingertips. She's like, I kept looking over here. Breathe here as you soften through the shoulders. And to help you do that, can you raise both palms to face the ceiling now? So spin the arms. And see how your shoulder blades drop down your back a little bit. Try to keep that openness through the upper back and now flip through your wrists so your palms face down. Good, soften. Release the arms to your hips as you straighten your front leg and pivot on your heel to parallel your legs, good. Push through the legs nice and strong. Lift the forefoot of the right leg. And then again, pivot. You see how my hands are on my hips? You see how my hips are rotating with my front leg. Good. And then fingertips to touch. That's it. Lift your chest. Extend your arms. They're not going to be perfectly parallel. They might be on a slight diagonal because of the position of your hips. That's all good. Good, and if you need to lower your arms, stay in your back leg as you bend through that front knee. And the same thing here, spin your palms to face the sky and feel how that shifts and changes your upper back muscles. And maybe try to maintain that as you turn your palms back downcast to face the floor and gaze over your right fingertips or whatever fingertips you're looking out over. One more breath. Who knew staying still was so hard? Release those hands to your hips, straighten through your front leg, lift your front foot up and parallel your feet. Good, take a moment here. You can either heel toe your feet back to center, step, hop, or jump and find your parallel position. Good. Feeling a little bit more open. We have one more thing to add to that sequence before we transition down to the floor. Maybe two, I lied. Here we go, feet are parallel, hip width apart, arms swing forward and up. As you exhale, bend the elbows, bend the knees, find your Utkatasana, powerful pose. Good, lift your breastbone, lift your elbows. They don't have to be down here, they can be a little bit higher if it feels better. Take another breath. Straighten the legs, straighten the arms overhead. Release your left arm down by your side, reach through the right. Lifting through that armpit, right? You can even feel the back of the armpit, the shoulder blade, and help it elevate up. Yes. Arms raise overhead, switch the reach, left arm reaches, right arm releases, and again, elevate through the armpit. You can still elevate with a bent elbow. Did you know that? Yeah, you can give it a try. Elevate, depress. Even if my elbow is bent, the elbow straight just makes us feel like we can get a little higher up. Good, both arms raise up overhead. Here we go. Half fold, exhale, forward fold, or half sun salute. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to bow. Hands, both of them, come to the left thigh as you step your right foot back. Good, bend your right knee for me, Deb. Come on up with the torso. Float those arms forward and find that open chest. So we open the front by slightly contracting the back, right? Repeating it over and over and over again until, before you know it, our back muscles are wide awake. Good, as you exhale, both hands come to the front of your right thigh, or your left thigh rather, step forward. Find your mountain. Bend your knees, slide both hands down the opposite leg. Good, so shifting the weight now. So we're transitioning into an unstable base of support. Float those arms forward, pull the elbows back. Nice job, Sue. Lift the chest. Find your gaze, it'll help your balance. Focus on your breath. Chances are if you're watching me wobble, you will wobble too. Hands come forward to the front of your thigh, step forward, straighten the legs, step your feet apart. Good. So as you extend through the elbows, you're going to pivot on your left heel, let your pelvis twist open to that leg, find your warrior two. Good, gaze over your left fingertips. Strong arms, strong upper back muscles. Lifting up through the waistline equally and evenly as you push into your front leg, your left leg straightens. We're gonna raise up through that left arm and lower that right arm down to our side. Good, same thing. We're not gonna arch our back. Instead, we're just gonna lift up. Reaching for the apples at the top of the tree. Through the armpit, through the shoulder blade. Maybe you gaze up if that doesn't bother your neck. Good, find your warrior two one more time. Release those arms, give your upper back and shoulder muscles a break, and then straighten that left leg. Good, pivot and rotate. Same on the other side, so fingertips touch, shoulder blades intact. Rotate through that front leg, that right leg. And as you bend through that front knee, don't lose the weight in the back leg, stay there, right? So you're equally balanced in both legs. Yeah, good. Gaze over your fingertips. Smile by turning the corners of your mouth up. This time, spin your right palm to face the sky. Straighten your right leg as you straighten and reach that right arm up overhead, lowering that left arm. Let it relax. Reach up, reach up. Good. Arms back parallel as you bend through that front knee. Find your warrior two stance again. Release your arms. Straighten through your front leg and parallel your feet again. Ways to get in and out of a wide stance, heel toe. Yeah, it's kind of fun. I'd love for you to come to the back of the mat. So in lieu of going through that whole sequence again, I know we're getting tired here. I want to play with the lunge forward. So we often in yoga, because imagine this being the front of my mat, we step back. Stepping back is very common. Stepping forward is not as common, but much more challenging. So if you would like a chair to one side, once you put it there, you won't have to move it side to side. It's all good, okay? Find your posture, find your balance. Good. And start to get really light on your right foot. So your right heel might lift. Good. And then you lift your toes up off of the ground. And your spine stays nice and lifted as you push down through your left leg. See if you can lift your knee up a little bit. And then just tap down in front of the floor in front of you. So I'll just show this from this angle. I'm just kind of landing. And then I come back. And I'll show it from this angle. All right, so I'm lifting, starting to slowly increase the load on that standing leg. And then I'm gonna step forward. Good. A few more times, lift up. And what I want you to do is, I want you to play with the distance. So those are the variables we're working with today. We can step our foot, maybe a couple of inches in front of our standing leg, or we can reach into a deep lunge. Of course, each one is gonna offer a different challenge. But what I'd love for you to do is try and land softly. Yeah, so like no sound. Yes. Again. Like a superhero. You don't even know they're in the room, except you're the superhero. Okay, so the depth and the distance is all going to change the load and the impact to your body. But today we're just working with a soft loading, focusing on the joints and the fluidity of the movement. And then as that becomes easy with the support of the chair, still the same leg, can you now try to do the same thing, but more with a realistic approach? You're not gonna walk through the world, trip and stumble and land. Whew. I mean, it would be really nice, but chances are you're gonna land a little bit more firmly. So play with how you load that front leg, like think of tripping. Yeah, loading. Same leg, knee over toes. So making sure that front knee doesn't buckle in an opposite direction of where your toes are going. Try it 1 or 2 more times, that same leg. Nice. And without the chair is like the biggest challenge, right? Switch sides. So start with the soft. Shift all the weight into your opposite leg. So now my, if I was mirroring you, my left toes are lifted, right? Come on up, lift the knee, focus on that hip flexing, and then land. And it's very dainty and delicate and soft and quiet at first. Until it becomes more comfortable, but we're still trying to be like a sleuth. Like nobody would know we're in the room and your neighbor below you would not know that you're stepping forward. And once that starts to feel safe, feel comfortable, because really it's about this sense of feeling safe in your body and your brain is starting to trust that I know how to do this, then the options are to increase the impact, make it more like a, oop, I tripped, gotta catch myself. Oop, I tripped, without the chair. Our body's listening. Use your eyes. Use your breath. The more we practice these things, the less scary they will be. You'll be like, oh, almost tripped, but I caught myself. Yeah. Good, nice job. Perfect, and come out of that. Nice job, team, that was fun. We're gonna flow from the back of our mat. We will need some blankets. That's pretty much the only thing we'll need. So however many you would like to support yourself. If you're cold where you are, you may wish to have one to cover yourself. But coming to the back of your mat, take a moment, take a couple of deep breaths. Turn your palms away from your body. Inhale, reach those arms wide and up. As you exhale, push your hips back by softly folding at the crease of your hip. Keep your knees soft. Straighten the elbows. Inhale, head up, look up. Exhale to bow. Bend your knees, reach your fingertips down and walk yourself into 4-point kneel. Come into one last extended child's pose, please, by reaching your arms, your fingertips away from your hips. We'll take 2 or 3 breaths in extended child's pose. That's it, Dina, nice. And for those who are not doing extended child's pose on the floor, you're simply transitioning onto your back right now, team. So for those who are done at the end of your next exhalation, I would love for you to transition onto your back, please. So I'm choosing to support my head, and you're going to come and lie on your hip. And so this is how we get in and out of bed safely, yes? Transitioning between the upright postures and the supine postures safely. Slide that arm away. And come onto your back, hips and shoulders and knees, all facing the ceiling. Oh, take a minute. Constructive rest position. So even if it's been a day and you come home from your grocery shopping and you're like, oh, my shoulders, my back, it's just too much. This is where you land, right here. Softly, supported. And just let yourself unfurl from the craziness of the day. Nice. And then when you feel ready here, just scoop your knees in towards your armpits. You can let your knees fall wide as if you're doing an extended child's pose, but on your back. Right? So you need to have space for your torso. So let your knees be wide. You can hold the kneecaps or behind the knees, whatever works for you. And take a couple of breaths here. Let the legs be heavy. And then slowly lower your feet back to the ground, hip width apart. So we're just going to do one more postural exercise, and I'm going to ask you right now to just scoot your blanket from underneath your head out of the way. So I believe we did this in last week's class, team. We did our head and shoulder presses. I'd love for you to find that gentle head press, like you're pressing the base of your skull into the sand, trying to make an imprint. And then the backs of your shoulders are doing the same thing as you lift, just like we talked about in class today, lift your breastbone up. So it's a little bit more of an arch in the back. So spinal extension is already occurring. And now keeping all of those pressure points intact, just lift your hips slightly off the floor. Okay, so this is not about your glutes here. We're not doing a glute bridge. We're doing a Bonefit bridge. Feeling those postural muscles engage. Lower the hips, lower the breastbone, release the shoulder press and the head press. Pause for a moment. And we're going to do that one more time together, okay? So again, head gently presses into the sand. Shoulder blades left and right pressed as your breastbone lifts. Push into your feet, lift your hips up. You can see I still have wrinkles in the front of my pants. Actually, I don't. These are great pants. My Athleta pants. So there's no crease, but some of you might notice a crease in the front of your hips. That's completely fine. Keep pushing into that tripod of the feet, thinking of what we're working. What is the goal here? Head, shoulder, breastbone. Posture. On your next exhalation, lower your pelvis, lower your head press, shoulder press, and all the things. Bring your thighs to touch. Maybe you can grab your blanket and lift your head and support your head once again. And then let your knees fall open left to right. Soles of the feet touching each other. This is not for everybody, right? When my knees were really fussy earlier this year, this would not have been possible. So maybe you're doing the reverse. Knees together, feet apart in a variation of constructive rest. Okay, so find what suits you. You're going to stay where you are on your back. Noticing the tension you may be holding in your hips, in your groin, and the muscles around your knees. And if you have extra blankets or cushions, you can even place them underneath each hip or each thigh to help support them. Otherwise, focusing here on simply being in this moment as you inhale through the nose and saying silently to yourself, I am exhaling. Staying focused on this breath as I inhale and I exhale. And this could in fact be a meditation. Just silently saying to yourself, I am inhaling, or I inhale and I exhale. And in those spaces in between, those words, those breaths, your mind will wander. Normal human action. Instead, just say, I'm thinking, and then come back to inhale and exhale. The mind will continue to try and pull you away. Still, you've committed to breathing in and breathing out. For the final few moments of class, if you wish to change position of the legs by bending the knees and placing the feet on your mat, or outstretching your legs, or even coming to a seat, whatever feels most intuitive to you right now, not what I'm doing, but what your body needs. If you wish to stay where you are, please do so. Otherwise, start to deepen your breath and bring some gentle movements into your body by wiggling your toes and your fingers. No need to open your eyes just yet, but if your feet are not on the floor, if you're lying down, now's your time to place your feet on the earth. Turning to one side. And before you sit up, just softly flutter your eyes open, letting that light in, letting the color come in. As you slowly press yourself up to a comfortable seat, maybe even if you want to make your way to a chair, that's fine too. And thank yourself for learning how to trust your body in movement. Right? Regardless of what our diagnoses are, whatever we're dealing with in this life, on this day, we need to trust our body. We are not breakable or fragile like delicate little porcelain statues. We are strong, mobile, and resilient. And no matter what scans or bone mineral densities or x-rays tell you, You are human first. Strong, resilient, human first. Take a big breath in through your nose, team. Open your mouth, exhale it all out. And then open your eyes, welcoming yourself to the rest of your day, team. No homework this week. Just have a wonderful week. Get outside, enjoy the sunshine today, enjoy the day, and I will see you for our last class next Monday.